Welcome to the Social Dialogue Podcast. We're a mother-daughter team, both working in the world of social media management.
Join us as we share our different perspectives on life today, including trends, fashion, friendships, and career, and how social media impacts it all. Together, we bring two perspectives to one conversation.
I'm Shane.
And I'm Jenna.
And we're excited to bring you this new episode of the Social Dialogue Podcast. Hi, Nana. You've had a busy day today.
Oh my God, it's like time keeps moving and I'm just here.
Okay, but this isn't going to come out for a couple weeks. But today, when we're recording this, is the Monday after the launch of The Life of a Showgirl.
Monday, I think you meant the launch of the podcast.
Also the launch of the podcast. Yeah. Both have launched. We launched the same weekend as Taylor. We just knew.
Obviously.
What are you thinking? What do you like? What do you not like?
I'm obsessed. I wasn't like the biggest Tortured Poets fan. I like upbeat songs. So this was just like a complete 180. My favorites are Opalite, The Life of a Showgirl, and Wood. Even though
Me too. Same
Yeah.
songs, but Wood, I don't know if I can like listen to that with like your brother in the car or something.
Well,
It's
I
a
think
little
she censored it out
embarrassing.
in the movie.
She
Censored out
did?
not like everything, but like certain words.
I mean, the song is the song, but like, I don't know. Dad didn't believe me that that's what it was about. I'm like, listen to this song. Just listen. So
Just look at the lyrics.
yeah, but I can't stop playing Opalite. Last night, I went to see Nate Bargatze with a couple of friends, and on my way home, driving home, I like couldn't stop listening.
Hi, ladies.
We're so excited you're here.
Hi, we're so
Such
excited.
a treat.
You're my favorite person.
This is such a...
We're obsessed. We're obsessed.
You're
We're
mine.
obsessed with you.
Oh my God, Jenna.
Heather,
Well,
we are
the feeling
obsessed
is
with you.
mutual. The feeling is mutual
I
for
think
both
we
of
might
you guys.
battle.
I love you both.
We both have so many questions for you. I think we might battle over who gets to ask more questions.
I love it. Bring it.
Before
Bring it.
our audience of, I don't know how many people are actually listening to us yet, but we're starting. I mean, we've got 3 episodes out so far. There will be
Yeah.
one more before yours launches, I think. So I'm going to read a little bit of your bio so people know who you are. And you should have heard me the other night. I was visiting my son at the University of Florida and talking to these 2 girls. Both of them are from Deerfield. Both have kids Jenna's age, so they're graduating from college. And I said, oh, what's your son doing next year? I forgot where they go. I think Ohio State. I said, what's your son doing? She's like,
Shane, you're like my biggest cheerleader.
I love
swear
it.
to God.
I love it. This girl was like, I don't know what he's doing. He doesn't know what he's doing. He hasn't used any of the resources at school. He doesn't have a clue what he's doing. He's graduating in May. And I'm like, let me tell you about Heather Redisch.
She's always thinking of me, Jenna.
I love
It's
it.
like
Yeah,
she she side texts me all the time with who is commenting on the Facebook pages,
Because they're all crazy.
and they
Yeah.
are crazy.
All right, so let me tell our audience a little bit about you. Okay. With nearly 25 years of experience in people ops and talent management, Heather has had the privilege of partnering with companies and candidates to create lasting, meaningful employment relationships that align skills, culture, and values. As the founder of the Talent Maven and creator of the Adulting 101 Masterclass, she's expanded her efforts to support the next generation. Seeing the unique challenges young adults face after college, she developed a hands-on curriculum that helps bridge the gap to adulthood, offering guidance in both personal and professional development. Adulting 101 is not just a class, it's a supportive community where recent grads can connect, learn from each other, and gain valuable insights from monthly experts in finance, wellness, career strategy, and more, helping them grow both personally and professionally. Heather Redisch, we are so excited that you are here.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks, ladies. I'm so glad to be here with the both of you.
You're our first guest that both of us know you individually. You know, like we've had 2 other guests so far, and well, one, you've talked to Lindsay before, Jenna, but
Yeah.
you didn't actually know her. And Nina, I introduced you to on the podcast. So Heather, we both have
Oh my
relationships
gosh,
with
I'm
you.
coming after both of those heavy hitters. Okay.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah.
bringing in my friends too. Don't
Yeah,
worry.
yeah. We've
I
got
love
all
it.
kinds of people coming.
Well,
So Yeah.
And Jenna, that's a really important thing that should be happening more, especially in the workplace, is inviting your generation to the table instead of just assuming that because you're less seasoned or don't have as much experience. Your mom and I grew up with hierarchy and what the meaning of hierarchy is. And that insinuates that younger generations shouldn't be sitting in the room at the table, and they should be. And I think that's one of the things that is really changing right now, especially with corporate culture and understanding the importance of integrating all generations to be sitting at the table, because your insight, your perspective is vastly different because of your experience than your mom and I. So it's really important that that's happening now more than ever.
We really want our audience to know, the things that we're talking about. I don't want people of our generation to just assume they know everything. Clearly, I don't. Jenna had to explain to me the difference between a cover letter and an email. When it comes to graphic design, I lean on her for that. That's her skill, not
Yeah.
my skill. So I want people of Jenna's generation to listen to the people who are going to be on here and talk about how they got their job and what they did and their path and how they're doing. We're going to have Jenna's friend on who is already living in New York City. She's in her first job. We want to hear how it's going. She's probably got good advice, kind of how we have good
Mhm.
advice for college freshmen. And we don't just want Jenna's friends to hear it. We want their parents to hear it because
Yeah.
it helps parents to know your kid they're not floundering as much as you think they are. They've got this. Back off. So
Mhm.
hopefully this helps on your mission.
Yes.
I know
Absolutely.
that, I've been obsessed with you ever since the second I met you and heard about
Feelings
what you're
mutual.
doing. So I kind of want to know, like, what are the biggest challenges that people who are looking for a job right now? I know the job market is tough, and we're going to kind of set aside, in my mind, they're different. The people who interned last year at, like, let's say a bank, most of them, at least the people Jenna knows, they're set. They got their job, they're ready to go. But for the majority of people looking for a job, wanting to graduate college, and head off into the world. What are their biggest challenges? How can people of our generation help them and support them?
Yeah. Well, so, a really big miss right now is with software engineers, and that they've gone to school, and that our universities have really pushed software development as a major, and from extremely prestigious universities are graduating, and they cannot find jobs because first of all, there's AI, right? That we weren't anticipating would be taking so much of their experience from coding. There's a shift happening within the tech industry and what software development really looks like. So that is one industry that's really heavy hit right now. Okay, is software development in general. Then on top of that, you have entry level grads who are also being heavy hit. So I think I read recently that like unemployment's at 3%, but software engineers are at 6%. Entry level grads are at 6%. Like it is double what the average is right now. And there's a couple of things I do want to say about that, because I feel it's so hard for my young adults, my young professionals. I recently had a conversation last week with, she is a major early careers influencer. She's Gen Z. Has hundreds of thousands of followers, and she's also decided that she doesn't want to just be doing this on her own. She wants to get a full-time job, and she can't get a full-time job because you're either, she's like in the middle. Like, do you need 6 years of experience? Do you need 3 years of experience? Like, what if I'm in the middle? She's having a hard time getting hired. And the level of rejection that is going on right now, because the applicant tracking systems are so fast to look at your resume before it even gets in front of the eyes of people, and look at whatever keywords you have, which is a bunch of BS. And then they reject you. Just to apply to roles is completely ineffective at this point. You have to, and Jenna, you and I have talked about this, like you have to go deeper now. You can identify jobs online. That's not going to get you anywhere. You have to go deeper and start finding people in your network who can make those connections for you, because it's real hard out there. And so what I say to my parents, I actually just was in the car and did a post about this, is a couple of things. First of all, my young adults need to leverage their parents, their aunts and uncles, their family friend, those connections. Those are real connections. And we're here to help make the intros. But we can't get you the job. You got to get yourself the job. You've got to be able to run these conversations when you're meeting with these individuals. You have to be prepared. You have to be thoughtful. We can help make those conversations happen. That's not nepotism. It's not being a try hard. That's none of that. It's just using your network. And you have to go and get the job or have the conversation and make shit happen. So I'm just really passionate about that right now, because I think that there's this, like, butting of heads between parents and kids on when they can be using their networks or when they can't. And I say to both parent and kid, sit down, come up with your network of people. When was the last time you sat down with your uncle just to have a one-on-one conversation with him? Do you do that? Probably not. You see him at the holidays, or your aunt, you see him at the house. But do you really think about how they can help you? These are the people that love you most, and they have crazy networks and communities. So I know that was a long-winded answer, but I'm really trying to drive this home right now with the market the way it is.
And I feel like, especially for people my age, it's like, oh, well, nepotism thing. Oh, you only got this because of your parents. Oh, I don't want my parents' help. I can do this on my own, blah, blah, blah. What would you say to that? Because I use my mom's connections. I use my aunt, uncle, and cousin's dogs,
All
walkers
of that. Yep.
connections, you
Yep.
know? But
That's
what would you
this.
say to someone who doesn't believe in using your parents?
Then you're missing massive opportunity, and you're doing yourself a huge disservice. And the only person out of that whole experience that really doesn't win is you. So what are you doing? And who cares what other people think? It's nepotism. Okay. One of my very, very favorite influencers, if you will, is Kim Kardashian. And do you want to know why? Because she makes shit happen. Okay. Is her mom an amazing momager? Yeah, sure she is. But Kim Kardashian works her push off, and she does the work. And when I look at her, I think to myself, yeah, she's got real lucky with the people that she was surrounded with, but there's only so much you can do with that. You then have to actually put it into action. So if you feel like you're being judged based on the contacts that you have in your family or your network, that's just out of jealousy that the other person perhaps doesn't, or they're not willing to really use what they have in front of them. And they're great. You can sit and struggle.
Yeah.
That's your own fault.
Yeah, agreed. You bring up influencers, and I have kind of a question about it that I'm going to shift gears just a little bit. I think all three of us saw this story last week. The Free Press published an article called Gen Z Hates Work, which at first I was like, my Gen Zer doesn't hate work. She's got the strongest work
Good
ethic
job.
of
Yeah.
anyone I know. She'd rather work than go to class. But when I dug into I was like that too. I skipped class to go to my campus job. I loved it. And I know you made a reel the other day about influencers. And so it's kind of a convoluted question. But my question is, when I started digging into that article in the Free Press, they were saying Gen Z doesn't want entry level. Well, I don't know what else they're qualified for it yet. But then it got into this whole thing of they just want to be influencers. And I think this is pretty general. I don't think that that's true on a large basis. But I'm just curious on your thoughts. I think that Gen Z just generally is looking for work-life balance. So kudos to them for knowing that,
Yes.
for knowing how important that is. They want to be able to go to a Pilates class at noon. That's great. I think that's important that they prioritize their health and wellness. But how do you balance all of that? How do you guide this generation to find the right job that's still, they have to earn a living. They have to get off their parents' paycheck.
Yeah. And then there's a big shift also going on from a corporate standpoint, because this generation has seen their parents break their backs in jobs and then lose them. And so that is partially why the work life balance and the mental health is really important to them, not to mention the fact that they're just growing up in a more, the temperature is real high right now on so many things, right? I liken an influencer to kind of like Shane when we were growing up, like what a celebrity was, right? It looks easy to act, but is it really that easy? And what really goes into it? And then you kind of see the downfall to when someone becomes that famous that quickly. Everyone has a video in front of their face now. Anyone can truly be an influencer. But I think for me at least, like it's a very humble moment when you start to understand the reach that you're really getting. And I think that there have been some young adults out there who have gotten lucky with what they do, but we don't know what their level of discipline is on all the business things behind the scenes, right? And I mean, there have been the fall of a lot of influencers as well because they get the money, they get all of the things that they want. And then, but where were the guardrails put in place? It's a business. When you are an influencer, it becomes a true business. And in terms of corporate, there's a lot of conversation around boundaries because those who are older generations, we tend to just, I mean, it's who we are it's in our blood. Like we just work in a different kind of way. Younger generations it's not that they don't want to work, but they look at it as I'm working to live. I'm not living to work. And I say kudos to that. We should all be working to live, not living to work. And that to me is going to be kind of the next draw from companies in terms of drawing their people in and understanding that unless you're an investment banker, you're not working around the clock. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, it did. And I think it ties into what we talked about at the beginning with Taylor, the life of the showgirl. That's what the song is all about, is that you don't know how hard it is to do what I do.
That girl, I mean, that's why I respect her. Honestly, when I went to that concert, my girls were so excited. But then when I watched her work like that for 3 hours straight, like no other concert or artist I'd ever seen in my life. And not only that, but the community that she built in that stadium, in all the stadiums, friendliness and love and warmth. And let me take your picture. And she takes care of her people. She pays those truck drivers. She's acknowledges. And so I really turned into respecting her from an entrepreneur and from like a woman in business perspective because she's showing you that is hard work. So it's a really crazy time I see in business in general. I just do between the differences in the generations, the market the way it is right now. There's a shift happening with AI. So we're all kind of sitting front row to this. And Jenna, for you, I would just say keep being curious. Keep trying to learn. You're never going to be an expert. I'm still not an expert because things are shifting so quickly.
I feel like with Gen Z, either people expect the most of us or they expect us to know like nothing. I have worked with people both in and out of the classroom who just are complete slackers and they just like they're not self-sufficient at all. And then I come in and I'm like, no, let's do this, let's do that, blah, blah, blah. But then also like, Gen Z is expected to work at a certain level that like we can't, and this happens in the classroom too. I'm expected to be a professional advertiser at 21 years old when I haven't had the adequate training. So like I see how do you go about navigating both sides where people think that you know nothing and that you need to be handheld, but then also they expect you to know everything and be that self-sufficient person.
Right. So when I go into corporate trainings, one of the first questions I'll ask is, what do you think people say about Gen Z? And what do you think they say, Jenna? We're what?
We're lazy.
Lazy. We're lazy. We're not resilient. And it's bullshit, right? It's a total stereotype. And it's just, you're not lazy. It's that you don't understand those unwritten rules in the workplace. And the unwritten rules have kind of just been like, have stood the test of time that we all figured it out. But let me give you an example. A company I work with, they're going from hybrid to on-site every day. And so the manager on the team was going through, do you have questions now that we're going to move to on-site every day? One of the questions was, do I have to come to work if it's cold out? And I know that sounds crazy. And your mom I knew her eyes were going to pop out of her head. But here's the thing, why would they know differently? Like, if they've been working at home and it's been, well, if it's cold out, just stay home. Like, what's wrong with the question? Also, a question is, if we come to work every day, are you paying for our lunches every day? They don't know, because they've never had the experiences. So again, your mom's reaction is exactly what everyone my generation's reaction is. And, anyone who's heard the story laughs and giggles. And it's true, because it's laughable to us. But if you take a minute and you really think about it, you don't know. And there's a lot of those little things, those nuances, because you haven't had that experience yet, that you just don't know. And it is on the company to really take the time to explain these unwritten rules.
Yeah.
That's fascinating.
But
But
you're
you're
right.
right.
The face. Yeah.
I mean, how would they know? You're right. How would they know? They spent years at home with COVID
Yep.
and then hybrid work or remote work. How would they know?
Hybrid school.
Hybrid school.
And I am I could go on a soapbox about hybrid. I believe hybrid is the way of that should be. I am a firm believer in connection and in person. I believe that is such an important way to learn and to connect with your manager and your team. And I am all about being in person, but I am also all about being at home, heads down. I think from COVID, we learned we're not just sitting home eating bonbons and watching TV all day. It's a great way to be heads down. So I am a lover of hybrid. I don't think the United States knows anything in moderation, which is why we're doing this back and forth. But if we really stuck to normalcy, it would be hybrid. It's a mentally healthy way to work and to live. And so that is a huge shift that I believe Gen Z will be bringing in as they grow in the workforce.
Yeah. And speaking of Gen Z, kind of switching gears, our podcast is obviously called the Social Dialogue Podcast. We talk about social media and everything. So, as I am graduating college and, my brother, he's a freshman, like, what are some tips to how students should be using LinkedIn throughout their college years?
The greatest way to use LinkedIn, and Jenna, we've talked about this, is to go on your university page, and then on your university page under the people or alumni, there's a tab. You're going to go into that tab. And obviously some schools are bigger than others, so there's more, but nonetheless, when you are an alum for life, and you want to help anybody who's graduating. If anybody came to me from University of Wisconsin, you better believe I'm going to help them in any kind of way that I can. And so you're going to leverage that LinkedIn to start. And I would start making those connections early and often. So you can look at, so let's just say, you're in marketing, Jenna. Let's just say you start looking up through Indiana, anyone that's in marketing, VP of marketing, brand marketing, social media, content. You just look up all those different titles, and then Indiana will bring up all the different people who are in that job or the space. And those are the people you just start to gently link in with. And it's a very simple reach out. Hi, I'm a fellow, I'm a student at Indiana University, and I am looking to build my professional marketing network. Your experience is super impressive. I'd love to add you to my community. That's it. There doesn't need to be any more action items in that moment. You're just building your community. I do that all the time with people in human resources. I find someone's really impressive profile. I say, hey, I just want to add you to my community because I find your background fascinating. That's it. But your university is the greatest way to start helping you build your network. And then it will also help you in networking when it comes to finding a job and applying to roles. You can use it again in the same form when you're, let's say you apply to Maybelline. Look up Maybelline in Indiana University, see if anyone works at Maybelline there. Then reach out to them. And I don't care if they're in finance or they're, something completely different than your major. It's still that they share a commonality with you, which is that you went to Indiana and they're going to help you. I promise. They should. They don't.
I love that.
That's great advice. Okay, I have one more question, and it's actually for both of you. Jenna, we didn't even talk about this. So over the weekends, I listened to Donnie Deutsch's podcast, which it's not my regular podcast, but I listen to it once in a while. He has this, I think it's called On Brand, and he does like brand up for this and brand down for that. And it's not always about brands. Sometimes it's about political things or whatever. Anyway, one of the things that he mentioned on this was brand up for the landline. He said the landline is coming back. And I'm curious what you both think about this. And I think the reason is because, so like for us, we had a landline up until about Jenna was babysitting her little brother and she didn't have a cell phone yet. So we had a landline in case there was an emergency. She had to wait to call. But then at some point, they both got cell phones. We unplugged the landline. We still have it because everything else is cheaper with it bundled, but we don't have a phone. Now, parents are kind of clamping down on social media and they are starting social later. So they're coming back to landlines. I'm curious about both of you, what you think about that.
I mean, I'm obsessed with it. I'm obsessed with it. I don't think it's going to work for anyone who already has a cell phone in hand. I think this is for the younger generation. Like I have a 10-year-old and I just keep putting off her cell phone. And so I would do that in 2.2 seconds. And I think there's so many lessons in the landline. Jenna, when we were growing up, you would have to call another person's house and you wouldn't even know who would pick up the other line. And it was typically not your friend. It was the parents. So you would have to be like, hi, Mr. or Mrs. This is so-and-so. May I please speak to so-and-so? And if you're someone like your mom or me, we'd be like, hi, Ariella. How are you? How is school? What's going on? Like, and you don't want to talk to the mom or the dad. You just want to get to your friend. But the parent is like so chatty Cathy. But what does that teach you? It teaches you how to be polite. It teaches you how to have conversations with adults, even if you don't want to. Like, there's so much that goes into the landline experience. I'm obsessed with it, but I don't think it's going to transfer to like the older Gen Zs or Gen Alphas. I think it's going to hit anyone who's under 10 and it should. I mean, it should. And Jonathan Haidt really started this whole movement. And we're trying to get phones out of middle school and all of that in high school. So what do you think about it, Jenna?
I mean, I was born the year the iPhone launched, so I know what a landline is and I know what it looks like on my mom's little table by her door. I think that I don't know. I was given social media, not a phone, but social media at a very young age. I think I got on Instagram when I was 9 or 10. That's not a thing anymore. Parents will not do that. I've talked to parents and I'm like, does your kid have Instagram yet? They're like, what? No, she's only 11. Why would she have Instagram? And in my head, I'm like, well, I got Instagram when I was 10. And I think it's because this age of parents that are coming in and are new, people who are older, Gen Z, younger millennials are very protective over social media because they've been hurt by it so much. So I don't think the landline's necessarily a bad thing. I don't think it'll stick around forever. I think the second the kid gets the cell phone, bye bye landline. But I think it's a nice tool to have for safety concerns.
Yeah.
But it's definitely harder for me to put myself in my shoes. I don't have a kid, 21 years old, I got social media at a very young age. I had a little iPod. It was my mom's old phone, and it was like the coolest thing ever.
Of course, yeah.
And I would post like 6 times in 1 minute on Instagram, and then my mother would be like, Jenna, why would you do that? And she like yelled at me, and that's when I first started learning how to use social media. But it's not like that anymore because social media is such a dangerous place.
Well, it's because of the algorithm.
Yeah.
And the algorithm when you were younger, Jenna, was not nearly as violent and influential and dark as the algorithm has turned into. And so I think that's part of the problem, right?
Yeah, it's a
Are
protection
these
thing.
are the algorithms. Yeah. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
parents want to
that's
protect their kids. And I mean, I don't blame them. Obviously, when I have a kid, I want to protect mine.
Right.
But
It'll
it's
be
that,
interesting to see what happens when you're at that
yeah.
stage of life. If all your friends have landlines. Donnie George said on this podcast, Kylie Kelsey is all into the landline. She's getting a landline for her girls. She's putting it in the kitchen so they can't even be on their phone in their room. They have to sit on the
so.
phone.
I actually heard her speak about this. Kylie
You did.
Kelsey.
Okay.
Yeah, Kylie Kelsey. I don't know. She wasn't actually speaking about the landline when maybe it's shifted now. Kylie Kelsey said that she will have cell phones that will only be allowed in the kitchen or downstairs. There will not be, they will only be in very specific. Now, if she gets a landline in there, then that'll be even better.
We did it. We used to charge the phones in the kitchen. I don't think that changed really until COVID. I'm pretty sure
Yeah,
you guys
right. And
charged your
COVID.
phones in the kitchen even until you were in high school when you were allowed to have it in your room. Yeah.
Yeah, it took until COVID. Even in
Yeah.
freshman year, I wasn't allowed to.
No. And I didn't either. I mean, I kept my phone in the
Right.
kitchen, but now we don't have a landline and we have aging parents. Somebody's got
Yeah.
to be able to get me in the middle of the night. So,
Yep.
and I have 2
100%.
kids out in college. What?
For a second, because there have been multiple instances where Ryan has had an emergency and we've tried to call you in the middle of the night and
Okay.
you don't pick up.
Let me just say this. My husband snores. I put in little ear
Oh,
things so I
you
can't
do?
so I can't hear. And then when the phone rings, I don't hear it. So Ryan was home between camp and college, and
Wait, that's
I
hilarious.
thought he was coming home. And so I said, leave the door unlocked and the lights on. My husband thought he was sleeping at his friend's. So he locked the door and turned the lights off. And in the middle of the night, Ryan tried to get in. He doesn't have a key to the house.
Oh
And
my God, that's
he couldn't
hilarious.
get home. He had to go back to his friends and sleep there. And when I woke up, there were like 25 messages from both kids trying to wake me up.
This is not her first instance, though. There have been other instances.
Jenna, here's the thing. By the time we get to bed, we are so dead to the world. Like we're, and it's only for a few hours, then we're back at it again. So that's
I raised you two to be independent. He figured it out. It's fine.
Well, yeah, he figured it out, but that was not your first instance. I don't remember the other instances at the moment, but
that's hilarious.
Sometimes the middle of the night emergencies are not actual emergencies.
Exactly. And then I get roped into it because it's always my brother's fault. I never call you in the middle of the night with an emergency. None of this is my
I'm
fault.
with you.
I'm just the
I'm with you.
collateral damage that ends up in
I
this
love it.
situation.
That's hilarious.
You're the collateral damage.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. Well, Heather, I can't thank you enough for this. We have been looking
Oh my
forward
gosh,
to
I
having
can't
on.
thank you both enough for this. This was a highlight for me.
I love what
Well-
you're doing. I say it all the time, but I really do believe that you are saving the next generation. I think that they
Thank
will
you.
be
I'm trying.
better employees. I think that
Thank
if
you.
their parents would just pay attention, I think their relationship with their kids would be better. I think that there's so many lessons here that you're teaching your students and their parents. And I see it from the parent perspective all the time where I just want to shake these people and say, back off.
I want to just say one thing about that before we end, because I see this a lot, Shane, which is if you are an overbearing parent, it's time to come to terms with that, right? And say, you know what? I've spent most of my life trying to just open, whatever is in front of my kid to make their life easier. And now I want to stop doing that. When you decide that you want to stop doing that, and that's typically through finances, right? So one day your kid, you wake up, your kid is, out of college, they're in their mid 20s, and you're still somehow supporting your child. And you're like, I'm done. I'm done trying to support my child. What I would say is that is fine and do that, but you can't just pull the plug because you're done. You need to teach them how to live on their own. They need the opportunity to truly understand how they are spending and what they are spending. Because if you've spent the greater part of their life saying, yes, 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 it's fine, no problem, or paying their credit card bills or paying whatever it is that you've decided knowingly what to do, you've enabled that. And so just pulling the plug for them is doing a horrible disservice to everything that you've tried to accomplish. Give them the tools, allow them the opportunity to start learning, and then you slowly wean them off so that they feel comfortable and confident. And I have that conversation a lot with my parents because they are overbearing. You gotta give them the opportunity to learn before you just take everything away. So
Right. Good point. Absolutely. And that's our job. We talk about that a lot, that you move from being manager to being coach, advisor. And,
Yep.
I'm still here to advise them as they need me. She
Yes.
needs me for different reasons than he needs me because they're 3 years apart in school. So he's at a very different stage. And so the questions that he asks, she asked 3 years ago. And now she has accomplished all of that. She has different levels of questions.
And then when he asks me those questions, I shake my head and I'm like, you're stupid.
No, he's not stupid.
'Cause
But
he's your
sometimes I
brother.
don't know how the bank app works because you guys have a different credit card than I do. And I don't manage their credit cards. They get an allowance and they have to manage it. And so when he had to pay his credit card bill the first time, he didn't know how to do that in the app. And since I don't have the app, I said, you have to call Jenna. She uses the same app. And you did. You explained it to him and he got it
did.
accomplished. Yeah.
But Ryan also asked me if he had to fold a piece of paper to put a mailing label on.
Well, he doesn't normally ship things back. And
Okay,
to be fair, that was my fault because I accidentally I ordered something from the Gap for myself and didn't change the shipping address. And I had ordered him jeans the week before because he didn't have enough jeans. And I told him I would. And I shipped them to him.
But this is the stuff that when mom does it for you,
Right.
and mom calls and makes your doctor's appointments, and mom calls and does whatever just to make your life easier. And then all of a sudden one day mom wakes up and goes, well, you go do that. You go make the doctor's
don't know
appointment.
how.
Well, you don't know how to. So
Right.
again, it goes back to the questions that you're being asked, like, do you pay for my lunch or do I have to come when it's cold? Like, if someone's been doing it for you the whole time, well, then of course you don't know how to. So mom then needs to sit down with you while you call the dentist and have the conversation about what you're going to say and coach you through it. And then once they coach you through it, well, then off you go. Now you can handle it. I've been there. I helped you. Now you can do it.
Yeah. It's great advice. Really.
So,
Yeah.
well, I love you guys.
I love you. I think Heather needs to stay on for the Facebook group section of the podcast.
Okay, so we have
before we
a
let
thing.
you go.
We have a thing we do at the end of everyone. So first, I'm gonna ask Jenna, what's your favorite social media trend right now?
Everything Taylor.
Okay.
Like, she's everywhere. I love it. Non-stop. Also, Dancing with the Stars. Both of those.
Yeah.
Mom's
Dancing
a
with the
big
Stars.
Alex Earl fan,
I love Alex Earl.
but she doesn't know how to watch it.
No, I learned how. You taught me how last week, so now I can learn too how to do things that I don't know how to do. So
I like
not
her.
that
I've been
hard.
watching her too. She's a great
I love
dancer.
her. Yeah, and I mean, talk about a business influencer. I
Yeah.
love what she's done. She's fascinating. She's really, it's cool
Agreed.
to see. Okay, so my thing every week is I share from the Facebook groups.
I do you know how much I love them?
So this one is actually not from a school. This is from just a community group that I'm in. Heather may be in the same one. This person posted anonymously, my daughter is in a triple as a freshman in college. She's in the lower bed in the bunk beds. Should the Wuzoo fan sit attached to the rail behind her head or attached to the rail closest to her feet? Okay, number one, this was posted on September 27th. So it's not like she posted this mid-move-in. She posted this weeks later after the kid had been moved in. I don't think anybody moved in as late as September 27th. There might be some a little bit earlier, those quarter kids, but September 27th, who cares? Let your kid put the fan where they want to put the fan.
Let's just start with, like, you put that on a group chat for months.
Strangers in the internet? What?
This is, you have a book. You have a book that you can do.
I'm sorry, this is insanity. Like, let your kid just plug her fan in and put it where the hell she wants.
Goes?
Where does the fan go? Who cares?
People, I'm just, can you, and then can you imagine, I mean, not to be rude, but like what an invalid the kid is? Like, if that's what the mom is pondering
Question is,
with
this
a
is
whole group.
this is always my question. Did the kid call the mom and say, where do I put my fan? Or does the kid have no concept that their parent posted this and the kid's just living their life and doesn't even have the fan hooked up? Like, couldn't care less about the stupid fan. I think there's both instances. I think sometimes the kid is so able to do any of this, and so they call their parent. But I think sometimes the kid has nothing to do with it. This is the parent literally freaking out about where should this fan go. It's ridiculous. Come on.
That was hilarious. That was a really good one, Mom.
Shane, oh my God. There's so much to say about that's the problem. Like right there. I often think just so much that it's so much more the parents than the kids.
I do too.
And so we've created the disaster and we have to help start fixing it because that's like, who does that? Like, aren't you embarrassed? I sound like what's his name? The comedian Sebastian Maniscalco.
I
Do you
like
guys
him.
know him?
He's
He's
funny.
the greatest. And he's like, who does that? Like,
Who does
are
that?
you kidding me? Like,
Right.
my God.
Well,
thank you for that little laugh.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Anytime. There's more where that came from. But seriously, Heather, thank you. Thank you for joining us today. But thank you for all you do for Jenna's generation and also for ours, because you're making a
Thank you.
difference. And we're so glad that you're out there.
Everyone needs to talk to her. Everyone listening. Everyone talk to Heather.
Heather,
Thank
what's
you.
the best way for people to contact you since I've been giving out your phone number?
Well, so I love it. What do you mean? It's amazing. So I have an Instagram and a TikTok. I'm more active on Instagram because I'm able to post more content on Instagram than on TikTok. But you can find me at Adulting 101 Masterclass, and I have a website, Adulting 101 Masterclass. So you can contact me that way, and that's it. And so I do one-on-one trainings. I have cohorts that college students. I'm really sticking at this point to cohorts in senior year who are looking to get the, first job out of college. And then I do internal workshop training at companies.
Excellent.
About all of that stuff. So thanks, ladies. Loved
Thank
every
you.
minute with you.
Thanks, Heather. Have a great rest of your day.
All right. Bye, guys.
Thanks for joining us on the Social Dialogue Podcast. If you liked today's conversation, be sure to leave us a 5-star rating and a review and share it with a friend.
Keep the dialogue going with us on social. Find us on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and YouTube.
I'm Shane.
And I'm Jenna.
Thanks for listening.